Let's go into the next slide, Patrick. So the information provided is for educational purposes and is not intended as medical advice or a substitute for medical advice of a physician or other qualified healthcare professional. You should not use this information for diagnosing a health or fitness problem or disease. You should always consult with a doctor or other healthcare professionals for medical advice or information about diagnosis and treatment. We do not claim to treat, diagnose, mitigate, prevent, or cure diseases. So let's go into the testing. I know this is not an exciting topic as usual, but it is, because we're going to talk about third-party testing and dietary supplements and how important it is. So we had already done testing that had to do with athletes and if athletes could use our products. We then went back to look at not just if they could be used for athletes because it was safe, but we wanted to assess all the quality, the purity, and the potency of our product, even the packaging. We wanted to look at everything, and it was important that we used a third party. Overall, third-party testing adds an additional layer of scrutiny and assurance to the dietary supplement industry. It helps protect consumer health and confidence that the products they choose are the right products. There's always a threat when you do this testing that you won't pass, right? So you're spending all this money. It costs a lot of money to do the testing, and you're worried that it won't pass, but we were able to pass this and to get through this. So let's go on to the next slide. Let's talk again why it's essential for us to do this through a third party, because I want to tell you guys, in our manufacturing process, we test the lot numbers, we test for mold, we test for heavy metals, we test for bacteria, we test for viruses, we test everything. But we wanted to send everything off because we wanted a third party to tell us that we were verifying the ingredients that were on the label correctly and the amounts. We did have to spend a lot of time explaining that some of the amounts are lower because of the countries that we work in and the laws and regulatory around vitamins. So for example, vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, every country has a different amount that they tell people they can take. And if your labels are wrong, they will pull the formula, which is why we're in a unique position. We're not just a United States company. We're not just selling in 5 to 10 countries. We're selling in over 80. So we have to hit all of that. And that was really hard when we went through this testing to explain that, to go over that. We had to go over each label. We had to go over all the packaging, all the ingredients, and not just the testing of the ingredients individually, but all together, and also making sure that they were accurate. So they would test the ingredients and then making sure that it fit the packaging and the labeling that we had as well. It was a huge issue for us. It took a lot of time. Kelly really focused on that. Patrick and I have been involved in that in the past, but it took a group effort. It was Duquesne, Patrick, Clayton, myself, Kelly, Tiger, a lot of us really working on this. They also looked at safety. So testing by an independent party can identify potential contaminants. When they look at everything and they test it, they will identify if there's heavy metals or pesticides or microbial pathogens that pose a risk to consumers. And again, they check the individual ingredients as well as the overall ingredients to ensure that none of that is present. They also look at accuracy of label regarding potency and concentration and making sure it is accurate what's on the label. As I said earlier, they want to make sure that there's an informed decision on dosing and efficacy. So they wanted to make sure that we were looking at dosing and efficacy, and the amount that would be efficacious was on the label and that was in the ingredients. And that took a lot of time as well. When supplements undergo third-party testing, they receive a certification or verification. It enhances the credibility, not just for our company, but for you all and for consumers when they see this on our labels. Consumers are more likely to trust products that have been independently verified like ours. And some of ours had that in the past. Now we have all of them that have been verified. We are going after the new products. So every time we launch a new product, it does take at least 8 weeks to 9 months to get it verified, just so everybody knows. In some jurisdictions, third-party testing may be required to comply with regulatory standards and to meet legal requirements. We were trying to hit standards so we could have our product in front of the military and certain governments for government or military use, and we have hit that with some of the requirements that you'll see moving forward. Next slide, Tiger. So why did we pick BSCG? So just so everyone knows, BSCG is a certified drug-free third-party certification program, but it also looks at quality metrics. It's the most comprehensive drug testing protection available in this country or any country. The protocol includes a 21 CFR 111 good manufacturing practices, which are GMP manufacturing. So it looks over control, process, and compliance. It looks at raw materials and supplier review and a general toxicology evaluation. So all of you guys that have customers that are worried about heavy metals or toxicology or making sure that the raw materials were checked and that everything is accurate, that has been checked with this certification. So rest assured, we went through all of that in order to get this certification. Testing is conducted in international organizations for standardization. 17025 accredited laboratories using methods. So it's not just in the United States, but it's an international organization to validate nutritional supplements and analysis. And that was important to us. In the United States, and we'll get to that later, there's other labs people use, but we needed the international certification and we need the highest standard that we could hit. The BSCG certification drug-free program is part of this. It's one of the elements. It's not the only element. In the past, we just looked at that element. This time we went for the whole third-party certification, which included everything else. But we still went over the drug-free program certification, so we would have it for the industry. Next slide. So what is GMP? So you guys know we use manufacturers all over the United States and we source ingredients from all over the world. You also know that we are buying manufacturing and building manufacturing. In the meantime, every manufacturing company that we use, they have to be GMP certified. That's not necessary to be used in the United States. However, for us, it is. We are shipping all over the world. We have to have the best standard possible. So GMP is a set of guidelines that creates a consistent and systematic approach for ensuring the quality of products. So if you use a GMP certified lab, some of those are pharma grade and some of them aren't, but you know that it's protecting the consumer and you know that they are being tested and have to qualify yearly for that certification. It covers all the manners of production, the procurement, the material manipulation, the testing, the equipment, everything. It looks at the process, it deals with the complaints, it even goes into employee qualifications, bookkeeping, accounting, cleanliness, sanitation, everything. In order to get GMP certification, you have to hit all of these different elements. It's also sometimes referred to as CGMP. The C stands for current, which reminds manufacturers that they should utilize technologies and systems which are modern and comply with regulation. And all of our manufacturers have this updated. Next slide. So a lot of people that are in sports have asked us. In fact, I was just on the phone this morning with a bunch of coaches and people that are in the professional athlete space. And they ask about why we're not using NSF. And I explained that our partnership with BSBG was influenced by their comprehensive testing capabilities. NSF doesn't have that. We looked at a broad spectrum of over 507 substances that are banned in competitive sports alongside examinations for toxins, heavy metal, and more. Crucially, BSBG has an ability to test animal supplements as well. And you guys know we have Bill and Q. So it was really important that they do that. We're now going after cosmetic certification with them as well, with our skincare line. But BSBG does a really strong process of testing both the ingredients and the finished product, which NSF doesn't do that. We wanted to guarantee that we had the utmost safest product for the Olympic and professional athletes. NSF is not able to do all the requirements that we needed to have. This certification programs are in strict compliance with regulatory leading sports organizations such as MLB, NHL, NBA, all the different organizations that we work with, NFL, military, law enforcement, first responders, CrossFit, everything. And that was extremely important to us. We didn't want to hit just the United States. We wanted to do international, and we wanted it to be across all the ranges of professional sports. So that was really important. And we didn't want just the hype. And NSF is important, but it doesn't cover all the different things that we needed, again, for this organization. It's a lot higher than the other things. We did look at banned substances. We looked at steroids, stimulants, diuretics, everything. But again, we also looked at quality, packaging, ingredients, heavy metals. That was important to us because we had some of you guys that said, well, our customer is concerned about the heavy metals. We wanted to make sure we had a third party testing this so we could show you guys that that was tested, not just from us, but from an outside party. Go on to the next slide. So BSBG really is the gold standard in certification and testing. It has the top tier screening with over 500 substances, which are banned by organizations. And again, where there was a divide with this with NSF is we also looked at the heavy metals, the pesticides, and the microbial contaminants. I didn't want anyone coming back to us and saying that someone that was a customer said that we had these things in our products. I wanted to prove, and we wanted to prove to all the ambassadors that that is inaccurate. So many times, guys, I get text. I wish I could hand you my phone this weekend, Patrick. I get so many texts which question our ability and what we're doing because of what someone has said about us that's a competitor. Like I got a text this weekend when I don't blame, I want you guys to send them to me, but about our product compared, there was a study that was written about zeolites and silicas and nanoparticles and saying they were toxic, but it's not our product. It was another product. They know nothing about our product. Our product is proprietary. I'm going to talk just about Clean Slate. That process cost millions of dollars to create. There are patents behind it. There's formulas, there's processing. We had to buy all new equipment when that happened. We had to do polarization and magnets. No one has a product like Clean Slate, which is one of the reasons it's so controversial, because everybody is like, what's up with this product? And then they try to make our company and products look bad so their products can look good. And you guys, please, for me, step back and think about that and understand that. Patrick, I don't know if you realize this, but on a daily basis, I'm getting 500 WhatsApps or texts, which I want to read them. But the thing is, a lot of it is inaccurate information from competitors. And they're drawing indirect conclusions, like they'll put an article and then say that's our product when it isn't. So I really want you guys to understand when this happens, a lot of times it's a competitor that's just trying to discredit what we do. You need to show the certification and explain to them that this company did not just go on my word as a nanobiotechnologist, bioscience engineer, and doctor. We went to an outside product to get the highest testing possible. And Patrick, from now on, when we get these questions, I really want to show this certification and what it means so that everyone knows. I mean, we can just keep putting it back on the platinum and silver group so that everyone understands it includes Clean Slate. It includes Clean Spirits. It includes Restore. It includes our products, right? That we're testing them for the heavy metals, the pesticides, and microbial contaminants. We would never have passed this if there was a level of heavy metals in anything that was harmful in any way or toxic to the body. These products are cleaned through multiple processes in the process, but this testing proves that what I've said, what Patrick said, what Ted said, what Clayton said is accurate, right? So it's not just our word anymore. It's an organization that does not know us except for to test our products. I've worked with BSCG since 2015. So I've worked with this organization with numerous other companies. And it's really important for you guys to understand how hard it is to get and to keep as a certification, and we have it. The journey also includes an in-depth analysis of the product composition and the entire manufacturing oversight. I had to send in the utility process and how the products were made from start to finish. Also had to show the mechanisms in place, had to verify adherence to the good manufacturing processes and standards in every single market. And because I used different manufacturers, that was a long and lengthy process. It was repetitively going back and providing information. I even provided patents and information on the patent process. So this is a highly tangible, and that means it's something you can stand on, evidence of our commitment to excellence, as well as our commitment to humanity and the products. Next slide. And Patrick, I really want to make sure, because we don't have a lot of people on this, that everyone's aware of this in this community, so that when everyone sends me text about being questioned on the heavy metals in our products and stuff like that, first of all, I could use a bad word, but I won't. Because it's not appropriate. But I'm not mad at you all at all. I appreciate you passing it on. But again, it's like a sibling being jealous of, or a friend being jealous of another friend or whatever, and gossiping. That's what's happening in our organization because we have such high quality of standards. This should put an end to that, Patrick. Do you know what I mean? Like, there should not be any more questions. We just send over the certification, and they can contract BSCG or whoever they want to verify that we have this. We legally cannot post this unless we've actually done it. And again, how long has this taken us, this batch, Patrick? 9 months, a year to get this done?
The amount of information, if everyone would understand the time that goes into doing this, it's so time consuming. You have to get so much documentation. This in itself is like one person's job, could be.
Yeah, yeah. I really want to make sure, Patrick, too, that we put the different colors, because for BSCG, there's different colors that you get. One is for banned substances, one is for quality certification. We need to make sure we're showing all of them. The blue seal that we're getting demonstrates quality assurance, and that means the testing was tested on the finished product that we have of all of our products, the raw materials, so the individual raw materials. They had to follow industry standard for American Herbal Product Association, the Association of Official Agricultural Chemists, United States Pharmacopoeia, using methods like liquid chromatography, mass spectrification, spectrometry. I can't talk. So, hey, I got a WhatsApp that someone, Patrick, tested our products on their own in an individual lab at an office where they had no qualification for mass spectrometry, and saying that our products were not accurate. This is a complete lie. This is completely inaccurate. I did not know the scientist. I did not know the doctor. They worked for a competitive company. I want you guys to look at this. When you have someone ask, have you guys done testing? We've done it. And I need, Patrick, for everyone to understand, when they contact us about someone that's a competitor that's trying to question what we're doing, that we had it done by the top brand in the world, and we were tested in all these different areas. We also did a high performance LC, which is looking at your liquid chromatography, which is really hard to do. It's a lot higher than any kind of individual lab that people are testing this in. It was the single most important standard of collaboration and testing calibration in laboratories around the world. I want to say that again. We use the single most important standard for calibration and testing laboratories from around the world. That was done on all of our products. We also, the certification confirmed adherence to acceptable marker levels and contaminant limit meetings, and exceeded national and international guidelines. So let me explain what that means. There's different markers that are acceptable in testing, whether it pertains to pesticides, GMOs, heavy metals, anything, contaminants, and everything. We actually looked at all of these limits, and we exceeded national and international standards as it pertained to all these areas against every competitor. Next slide. Let's go into a little bit about these tests, because I think this is important. Again, I'm upset a little bit that we didn't do this on a regular Tuesday call, Patrick, because I get asked these questions all the time. And from around the world, I'm sent WhatsApps. I'm sure Tiger is as well. I really want to get this information out there so everyone understands the testing that was done. LCMS is a powerful analytic technique used for separation, identification, and quantification of unknown and non-known compounds. Basically, it looks at the structure and the chemical components of everything that's in that label. And it breaks it down and makes sure that there's nothing that could be harmful. And instead, it hits the highest standard of what is supposed to happen in nutraceutical supplements throughout the world. So we had that testing done. We also did GCMS, which is your gas mass spectrometry. So all of these people that keep doing the liquid spectrometry and the different tests where they're analyzing our products, we use the most powerful tool that we could use because there's different levels of that. So for example, and a lot of people don't know this, so I do want to take the time to explain this. In your small labs, in like a doctor or science office, even if it's a good scientist, they don't have the top level. It's too expensive. It costs millions and millions of dollars, right? And the testing costs a lot of money. We have the highest identification where we can look at an analysis where we can look at basically the complex mixtures, the trace levels of contaminants. So we're even getting into, is there any contaminant, even at a small level in the product? And it looks at the unknown peaks as well. So we know that if there's any outlier that we don't know exactly what it is, it'll catch it. And we go back and we identify it and then we test it again. And that's really important because there's a lot of pesticides and GMOs and contaminants and heavy metals that are so small you can't track on most of these tests, but these do identify them, just so you guys know. We also did a technique which looks at the purity of the individual components of the mixture. So what they do is they take out each individual component that's in like Restore, and they test the individual component, and they're able to do that through a high performance liquid test, which basically analyzes the individual ingredients. It's really hard to do because usually you have to do it before a product is made, which I have that done in our manufacturing plants. They test the individual ingredients and they test the overall ingredient when it's done, the whole product. This is able to put it under a machine and take out the individual ingredients and test them individually as well as overall. So you've got additional testing on top of the manufacturer. Why is that important to us? Why is that important to you? The manufacturer may not catch something, or there may be something, their equipment may be some of the best in the world, and I know that our manufacturers have it. However, this equipment that's used at BSVG is the best and the highest. So your different lab tests, and I'm just letting you guys know, have different qualifications. It's kind of like, how do I explain this? A lot of the scientists that are out there speaking for competitors and even have spoken for us, they have some of these tests, but they're not the highest qualification in the world. They're scientists that have learned it in school like me. And a lot of them don't have PhDs. They have masters, so they could be wrong sometimes, right? This takes the highest level and it catches any kind of trace of anything as a contaminant. So we were able to send it off and get that. We also used a standard of testing and collaboration of laboratories that ensures methods and practices that meet the most demanding criteria, which I think BSVG is the only one that really does that. I think most of them, they look at some of the criteria, but not the highest, and that's what this lab does. We also looked at any kind of manipulation or compromise or quantity or quality result that would be negative, and looked at pressuring factors that can manipulate, like heating and cooling our products, and then tested them under that. Like a lot of you guys asked me, can you put this product in heat? Can you put this product in a coolant? And the answer is, and you guys hear me a lot, I would prefer that the products be placed in a cool environment that's not, I don't like Clean Slate in the heat, for example, or Restore in the heat. However, in this testing, they do put it under extreme pressure. And they were able to see that our products did maintain their stability under that pressure, which was huge. And I was worried about it a little bit because even though we have 2 year shelf life and we've tested it, I was really worried that we wouldn't hit everything. You always worry. It's like taking a test in school. And I used to do pretty well in test. I still would worry about the test. And I'm so sorry. I would always, are you leaving? Okay. I would worry about the test and then I would take it. And so this was a test for me. I think I must have asked Kelly every other day for a year, did we get this back? And I bet Patrick did too, because we all wanted to make sure that we hit this highest standard, and we did. Next slide. I'm sorry, I was saying hi to, we have, it's Earth Day today, and we have one of the top environmental groups in the United States here for Earth Day. All right, so details and testing process. So again, the testing was conducted in ISO 17025 accredited laboratories using industry standard methods. Contaminant testing included heavy metals, pesticides, and microbiological agents. Patrick, I just want to take that whole line and post that everywhere. I really need to post that everywhere because there's not a week that goes by that I don't get asked this because of a competitor saying something that's not true about our products. So please understand, we've tested all of this. So anyone that says they've tested our products in their own makeshift lab, and that's what they find, it's inaccurate. This is accurate. You can't pay someone to give you this certification. You have to earn this certification. We did assessments on general toxicology, banned substance issues, and ingredient compliance. We did in-depth audits of labels, claims, and quality control focus. So just so you guys know, we're not only hitting Germany's standards on labeling, we had to comply with their standards on labeling for international labeling. Did you know that, Patrick? That's why we kept changing our labels. So when you guys keep coming to us and saying, why is there a label change? It's because we are hitting the top standards. We were tested. We were every single part. It's like going for a full strip down search at the airport. Like everything was taken apart in the back room and analyzed, and we passed everything. I think it's really, really important. From now on, Patrick, I just want to take this slide and post it again on all these groups when we're asked these questions. In-depth, again, audit of all of our labels, all of our claims, quality control focus, supplier quantification and qualification, ingredient specification, testing on each ingredient again, and the specifications, finished product specifications and testing, adverse event reporting. They tested us for if we are reporting on adverse events and our method of responding to science question, and recall procedures. So we had to put in place what we would do if any product was recalled or if there was an issue. Ingredient testing verified the identity, purity, strength, and composition. So when people come to you and say clean slate is not what it's supposed to be, again, we tested every single ingredient for the purity, the strength, the composition, the identity, so that they could break it down. So they were able to see that, for example, it started with the zeolite and became a silica because of pulling it apart in the process that I created. And that silica did not have heavy metals in it. Do I need to say that again? Because should I say it again, Patrick? Because I want to make sure everyone knows. So they tested for our label for clean slate. And many of you guys say, well, it has vitamin C, but it has silica or proprietary formula. That label is based on, in the process, it started with a zeolite, and then I was able to pull out silica, clean the silica, make sure that it didn't have the toxins and heavy metals in it, so it could be delivered to the body. So any of you guys that are sending me these articles or what someone else is testing, it's inaccurate. And this helps prove that for you all. And I know you need it, because as much as I have to explain things, I also understand you all do. And that's why you come to me. So I just want to make sure that I'm really explaining this so that everybody understands it. We also went into, we included all the drugs required in the Amazon seller. So for example, Amazon is one of your pivotal points. You have to produce like your sports nutrition, bodybuilding, sexual enhancement, weight loss products. All of those have to go under a test, right? And that's because they don't want to sell something that could hurt people. We went through that whole process as well, because we do sell not on, well, I think we sell some stuff on Amazon, or you guys do, but I know that we predominantly sell online, which is the same thing. We looked at supply qualification, specification testing, and contaminant testing. And we had to go through that with each manufacturer, not just with one manufacturer, but with all manufacturers. And I can tell you our manufacturers were not happy about this process because they were being graded during this. And I informed all the manufacturers that if we did not pass this, we would not be using them ever again, because we have to use the highest quality of standards. We did the certified brand and lot numbers and client pages and database. They reviewed all of that for ingredients. They also looked at brand summary, lots, images, sales links, and more, so that they could certify us with that as well. Let's go on to the next slide. All right, so here is Clean Slate. And again, I want you guys to look at this. I'm going to read this because it's so important to me. I had to put my glasses on. So the BSCG Certified Quality Program provides assurance that dietary supplements, natural products, cosmetics, medical devices, or other products meet or exceed industry standard for quality control. As part of the program, finished product batches are tested for label claims, heavy metals, microbial agents, pesticides, and solvents. This finished product lot was tested for drugs on the WADA prohibited list and other banned substance list in sports, as well as prescriptions, over-the-counter and illicit drugs not banned in sports. This batch certification verifies that samples of the product identified by brand name, product name, and batch number below have been tested at ISO IEC 17025 accredited laboratory partners, and it meets and exceeds the industry standard for quality control. So anytime someone's questioning you on Clean Slate and saying there's heavy metals, like, Patrick, I need to send this out because I know like Mark's team and some of those teams with Henrik and Stephanie and everybody else have asked questions about this. So they need to have this in a place where they can show everyone, so they understand that when someone lies about our products or gives out inaccurate information, that we're able to respond appropriately. Next slide. Restore got the same testing, guys, everything. So I had a WhatsApp this weekend about Restore and someone saying that it had heavy metals and contaminants. All you have to do is show them this and make sure that they understand that is absolutely inaccurate, that has to do with people that actually either made it up or it's a competitor that's just trying to hurt the company. But it's inaccurate information, because we do have certification, and not just for banned substance, not just for professional athletes. We have the blue seal, which means we also looked at the microbials, heavy metals, quality standard on each ingredient, each product, and all the manufacturing process, as well as labeling and packaging. Next slide. Zero in got the same testing. So your Trinity is right there with all of the testing that's been certified, that you guys can show. We have the gold standard in testing that was done, and we passed it, and we exceeded the certification qualifications. Next slide. Relive Greens has the certification. Next slide. Natural Barrier Support has the certification. Next slide. Give Me Back My Youth got certification. Next slide. Immune Defense Shield has certification. Next slide. Bill and Koo Pure Clean Pets is certified. Next slide. Anna Green. So any of you guys that have professional pets that do professional sports, they got the qualification on those products for Bill and Koo. Next slide. Defend Your Pets also got certified. And now we've sent Crush and Sculpt to be certified. We just got those finished, so we had to wait till everything was finished to send that out for certification. And we're getting ready to work on the cosmetic certification. So I think what's important to know is that we are testing all the lots and making sure that this is qualified. We will not, we are trying to do this at least once a year. Sometimes we have 3 to 4 different batches. So we're trying now to go back to them to test for those as well. But the current batches that are out there have been tested. And you guys can show this to everyone. I think it's really important to understand that, you know, we didn't have to do this. We wanted to do this, and we wanted to do it at the #1 lab that we could have this done. What's great about this is we can take this information to another lab or internationally and have them review it as well. But again, we wanted to hit international standards. We do understand that Europe uses other labs, just like the United States or like Mexico or like UAE, but this is recognized. Some of the labs may be upset because it is the highest standard that you can qualify for. We also are getting ready to work with another lab that is going to go in and do the ORAC scores and do the anti-inflammatory marker scores and do head-to-head trials. So we have been able to find a group that is going to work with us on this. We also have applied and are in the process of getting some grants that have to do with Alzheimer's, have to do with the microbiome of the body, as well as have to do with rehabilitation clinics and the Clean Spirits line. So we do clean Spirits, and that entire line we will end up sending out because of the rehabilitation. We're looking at about 98 clinics in the United States to incorporate what we're doing.